Hey guys, I thought that I'd do a review today on a film called Strange Days. Now, Strange Days is a film that I was made to watch as part of one of my modules at university, module based around city, and I can kind of see why the film was introduced to study the cityscape within the film and why the city's used within the film. But that doesn't stop the film from being absolutely goddamn awful. Now, I started watching it today around 5 o'clock start, and it's a very, very long film. It's 145 minutes long, so it's about 2.5 hours. And this film stars Ralph Fiennes, Angela Bassett, and Juliette Lewis, who you might recognise from Natural Born Killers or From Dusk Till Dawn, and Ralph Fiennes from, Harry Potter, Spider, In Bruges, films like that. So I had no idea what this film was about when I started watching it. I didn't even realise this film was a science fiction film because I hadn't done any research on it at all. So I went into it completely fresh, and the result was not good at all. And I don't think that's a case of me not knowing what I was getting into. Strangers is a science fiction film, a 1995 directed by Catherine Bigelow, and it's about a cop who turns into a street hustler that uncovers a conspiracy in 1999 Los Angeles before 2000, where apparently the world's going to end, which is kind of a big part of the film, but it isn't. This film's absolutely just really, really bad. I didn't have any redeeming qualities of the film whatsoever. The acting was very poor. I thought all the actors were fairly bad. Some of the lines they delivered was absolutely terrible. Everyone was wooden. No one, it felt like no one gave a shit about what they were saying or anything. And the dialogue in this film was absolutely atrocious. It kind of felt like a first draft of a script before a rewrite to then kind of make the dialogue more naturalistic. It was all the key things that pretty much need to be said to make the narrative go forward, everything that you'd expect, like don't shoot me, please don't shoot her, those kind of words, I can't believe it. That kind of shit is in this film, and it ruins the film entirely. Also, the cinematography in the film wasn't terrible. It didn't really know what it wanted to be, I don't think, and it was kind of all over the place in some sections. The film starts off a bit like, to me it reminded me of Vertigo, the first scene of Vertigo, where he looks down and sees the floor, and in the first scene of the film, this is a little spoiler, but I don't think you'll give a shit. It sets up the film that you can get these tapes which record people's visions. It's never really explained within the film. You can see what other people are seeing with these little CDs. So it kind of you put them on. You put this little hat thing on that looks a bit like the, I don't know, kind of like a facehugger thing like that. This film reminded me a lot of kind of like The Matrix, crossed with maybe, I don't know. I can't think of it, but you plug yourself into somebody else or your own memory to kind of fantasize. You can watch whatever you want, and it's kind of a drug, but they never really explain it. And there's druggies and people that use it, and there's no real problem with the drug at all. Like, it doesn't seem to have any side effects. And throughout the film, there's conversation about the side effects being bad, but there's never really told. And of course, there's an uprising, and there's a lot of commentary on black society being mistreated by cops and stuff like that, which is kind of relevant, I suppose, to LA and America and the UK and how people are kind of viewed in the world in general. But all that stuff we've seen before, and this film's just bullshit. I've said the narrative in this film is absolute turd. I actually got to a bit where I turned to my friend sat next to me, and she kind of explained that the film didn't make sense. There's part of the film is to do with this little disc, and in one of the previous scenes it gets destroyed. So I don't know what was going on. I might have got that wrong, but I don't think I did because I'm not stupid. All the acting in the film was pretty awful. Catherine Bigelow didn't do a very good job. I'm not a massive fan of her films, but The Hurt Locker was a lot better compared to this. I mean, this is a science fiction film. It has the officer, I think it's Scagnetti, from Natural Born Killers, or maybe it's not Scagnetti, maybe it's someone else who's kind of in Reservoir Dogs, kind of. But yeah, this film actually won awards as well. This This film won an award for the Best Actress and Best Director, and that was the Saturn Award, which is basically for science fiction and fantasy films and horror films within the year. But I just had a look online, and City of Lost Children and 12 Monkeys came out this year. So if you're looking for really good science fiction films, I'd recommend both of them. City of Lost Children is rather good. It's quite interesting, has a nice art design, and 12 Monkeys pretty crazy. Looking on Rotten Tomatoes, Strange Days has a 63%, and I have no idea why. It's absolutely terrible. I would not recommend this film at all, and I think it's actually one of the worst films I've ever seen. And I don't think it's a case of the film was meant to be bad. It's just genuinely a pile of shit. Written by James Cameron as well. I believe someone said today that it was the best thing that he's done before the film actually started, and no, Aliens is still the best thing that James Cameron's done, in my opinion, and he hasn't improved on anything more than that. Terminator 2 is rather good, but apart from that, you know, this film's really, really bad. I do not recommend it to anyone. There's also problems with editing. It's fairly kind of recognisable, the edit, until you get to about halfway through where a big plot twist, well, an event happens within the narrative that actually pushes forwards towards the third act. But then during the third act, you are then thrown a flashback to the event that you've already seen, just in case you're a stupid member of the audience and you can't remember what's just happened 20 minutes ago, and you need to be visually reminded, otherwise you're not going to understand the story. There are some choices in this film which are just absolutely awful. There's a scene where a man shoots himself through the face with a gun, puts the gun in his mouth, but it's done in the most stupid and unbelievable way possible. He kind of like puts the gun in his mouth and then like kind of like, I can't really explain it, but he doesn't put it in his mouth, he just kind of like rims his mouth with the gun, which is like, what the fuck are you doing? Then he shoots himself, which is hilarious. And everyone in the lecture theatre actually started laughing towards the end of the film because they realised this film was a pile of shit. There's also a part towards the end of the film where Ralph Feinnes was kind of he'd been stabbed in the back. I don't care if I spoil this film. I apologise now for saying that, but this film is really not worth your time. He gets stabbed in the back during the film, and with a rather large knife, which probably would have punctured one of his lungs or actually critically damaged him. But no, later on in the film, he's running around and he's wearing a white shirt, and he gets kind of, a medical officer comes up to him and says, "Whereabouts are you hurting?" It's not like there's a gaping bloody wound on the back of his back, on his back. Like seriously, like he's bleeding from this massive wound in his back, and the medical officer's asking him where it's hurting, which is just ridiculous. There's plot twists within the end of the film which are absolutely retarded, and some of the acting in the film actually comes from the fact that these people have this hat thing on. I'm doing that with my fucking hands. They have this hat thing on, which lets them see into other people's things, and I thought it was a really cool idea that you could see some event that was absolutely just detestable. Like, there's a part in the film where a woman gets raped, and Ralph Fiennes watches a woman get raped, and then the rapist plugs her into her own, like puts a hat on her and then plugs her into him. So you're seeing him, seeing her, seeing him kill her and rape her, and that's a very, very twisted kind of idea, and I thought that was very interesting. But apart from that, it didn't go anywhere. And at the start of the film, I'm sure there was a black man, a male black character, which got given a thing, and then he wasn't in the rest of the film. And I don't know whether he turned into a woman or maybe it was always a woman, but I had the impression it was a man because it sounded like a man and it looked like a man and they had short hair. And then the rest of the film, there's a black woman that has long hair, but then there's wigs in the film as well. I'm really confused. Juliette Lewis is topless for a large chunk of this film, so if you're into that, then you can see that, I suppose. But you know, I'm not really into nudity and sex within films unless it's necessary. Because if you want to view, I think that if you want to view that kind of material, there's always porn, and like that sex should not be in films unless it's necessary to be in films. But yeah, the film's pretty shit, really. The editing's awful in one of the scenes. I did mention it a little bit earlier, but like it kind of jumps around from like it's here, and then there's a guy speaking, so the focus will change, obviously. But the camera goes to like here, he's speaking to there, to the other character, like instantly like that, and it's kind of like some retarded-esque Lars von Trier, Jean-Luc Godard editing style, which just doesn't work. It looks absolutely awful in this film. And the actor does not work well with it. The end of the film is really a letdown. You'll see people in this film, actors who you'll be like, oh, there's that guy from that film, character actors really. But yeah, I really don't recommend this film. I thought it was one of the worst films I've ever seen. And my housemate, who also watched the film with me in the lecture theatre, let me watch the first opening scene of a film called Mamborg, which is a terrible film, which I started watching and it's obviously bad and knows it's bad, so it's kind of fun. And I'd rather watch all of Mamborg than watch Strange Days ever. Like, I wanted to leave the lecture theatre whilst watching this film, but the only reason I couldn't is because in case something massive happened towards the end of the film that was relevant to my course and potentially one of my essays. 63% on Rotten Tomatoes, that's absolutely retarded. It's got a 7.2 on IMDb. I've got no idea why, and Roger Ebert gave it a 4 out of 4 stars, which is very surprising because he's a very good film reviewer, was a very good film reviewer, and I respect him a lot. He did a load and loads of great reviews, but I just don't get how this film has got good acclaim. It's a pile of shit. Please do not watch this film at all. Sorry if this review's been a bit negative, but the film's awful. I kind of felt like I should warn everyone not to watch it. Yeah, there it is. I've done it. So thanks for watching. There will be more reviews in the future. If you check out my recent Blu-ray and DVD collection update, there will be films in there that I will be reviewing over the next few weeks. Please comment below, see which films you want me to review, because some of them obviously I won't, but if you want me to review a film, I can go out of my way and review one. Hopefully this has been an interesting review, but you know, it's not a great film, so I'll leave you with that. Thanks for watching. Bye. Oh, comment, rate, subscribe if you want. You know, you don't have to. See ya.